Welcome to another edition of Success Talk. This is the program where we talk about people who have achieved incredible things, who have faced unusual odds, and who have been able to overcome those odds and make their breakthroughs. So tonight we have my friend, my mentor, and a young man who has really, I'll just say, he lit the way for me and many others in the area of entrepreneurship and living your dreams. So welcome, Dave Smile, Coach Smile.
Dr. Herbert Harris, it's always a pleasure to be with you, sir.
I tell you, man, every time I get a chance to see you and try to keep up with the many things that you're doing, I'm just always amazed that it seems that you're always at the forefront of entrepreneurship and always working with people to help them learn how to fly. Wow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But my hat's off to you and your success with your program, with your business, and definitely with your book. And that should definitely be, for starters, a Christmas present. It'd be perhaps the best Christmas present that anyone could give.
Thank you, Dave. As a matter of fact, we have a great program. We call it The Perfect Gift, and we've been sharing it. People have been buying the book, the autographed copies of the book. And the interesting thing is people who bought it before keep buying it again and again and giving it as gifts. And so I'll throw my own plug in. We have a website, www.herbertharris.info. And people can go there and we call it the perfect gift. Thanks for that plug, Dave. I always appreciate, you're always an entrepreneur, man. You always see the 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 business side of things.
Well, the business side of things, when stuff works, it works. And for so many years, I've given 12 universal laws of success to the people closest around me.
Hmm.
Everybody has an inner circle, and my inner circle has got to be on the same wavelength that you're on. Because, as you know from your book, the law of thought. And so, the law of thought, you got to keep people that you're closely associated with the right thought patterns. And that's why your book is so good.
Well, Dave, I sure appreciate you, man, and thank you so much. Dave, I always love for our listeners to learn a little about your background, kind of your early years, how you got your start in life, and that the starting point that brought you to where you are right now.
Starting point to where I got right now is I have a very short Dun and Bradstreet. I'm from Jamaica originally. I came here and grew up in the Bronx in a one-bedroom apartment that my mother made sure that we knew that that one bedroom was hers.
Mm.
But from that humble beginning, my sister went to graduated Columbia. My brother graduated Columbia. And so the work ethic has always been there. And she was an illegal immigrant.
Mm.
So I didn't see my mom until I was in my teens. Because when you come here illegally, back in those days, they don't encourage you going back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, like everybody else, we just toughed it out in those neighborhoods. Went to DeWitt Clinton and then Lincoln University. I was one of the first Black bankers on Wall Street for Bankers Trust.
Wow. Okay. Well, now, how did you move from that to entrepreneurship?
Very interesting. Uh, I asked a young lady, my former wife, for a date, and she said yes. I looked at her nails, I looked at her legs. I said, great. She said, I've got a part-time job, and so meet me at the Empire State Building. So after work, I went to the Empire State Building. She said, there's a meeting going on in there, and it'll be about 45 minutes. I got some paperwork. And so she said, it's a business meeting. So my ego got the best of me. That's what she wanted me to do.
Uh-huh.
So then it was an opportunity meeting. Reginald Blythe was giving the meeting, an ex-captain in the Army. And I went, whoa, I ain't getting involved in sales because I stuttered so much.
Uh-huh.
Couldn't call my name. I
Mm.
figured, I know I got to be smarter than some of these guys I saw.
Uh-huh.
So an extra 6,000 part-time, that'd be good. And when I came outside, the paperwork she was filling out was mine.
Okay. That's what you call it, the velvet glove clothes.
Yeah, so that's how I really got to get in this industry called direct marketing.
Wow. Well, Dave, it's interesting. I think we all remember that first meeting, that turning point, that thing that made you say, I think I can do this. And that, you remember the name of the person, where it was, sometimes you even remember what the weather was like. Isn't that amazing?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because something clicks in you and you say the possibility of hope.
Mm.
Um, in your 12 laws, you talk about vision and having clarity.
Mhm.
And that's either three or four. I believe it's three.
Yes, three.
But um, I saw a vision that I could earn some part-time money
Mm.
because I was not giving up my status.
Hmm. You were a banker.
Bank.
Yeah.
That's almost as good as a lawyer,
Yes. Right.
especially in those days.
In those days. Oh yeah. Yeah. So you got the suit, the tie, and a little bit of money.
I had the suit,
Hmm.
I had one white shirt and two ties.
All right. All right. Now, when you look at those days, Dave, and you think about so many other people that came and saw different opportunities and they didn't stick to it. When you look at your life, I think that decision brought you an incredibly different life from that of the ordinary banker.
Yes, it goes back to your laws of success. In the early days, what got a hold of me was The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale.
Yes.
And getting involved in that thought process sort of changed me from the South Bronx neighborhood I grew up with to a different mentality. And so, but a lot of it starts out with our environment and what we think. As it turned out, I went to DeWitt Clinton High School, which was, I did not realize it at that time, but it was the number one high school in the entire United States. I don't know how many people graduated in your school, but we had something like 7,000 students.
Wow.
That's huge.
Yes.
And I was the first GO president, student body president.
Mm.
And that's at the tip of Riverdale. So at that time, it was a predominantly Jewish school.
Hmm.
I could still remember my slogan, you go a mile when you vote for Old Black Smile. But
Mm,
on that basis, on that thought process, we won
mm.
by 69 votes.
Wow. Wow.
Apropos.
Yeah. Now, you know, when you think about the fact that other people see the opportunity and yet they don't act on it, why do you think people quit? You know,
Well,
they'll see it and
what
then
you're talking about, you're talking about business as a whole, the type business I'm in, or which, what?
well, the entrepreneurship, the type business you're in, which is really entrepreneurship, where you're setting the stage for yourself. Yeah.
I don't think the odds are that much different than what we experience in life.
Mm,
It all depends on, I guess, your vision, and do you have the ability to change?
mm,
Because change has a lot to do with where you're going to go. In fact, you speak about change a lot,
mhm.
and a lot of us uh, are afraid also, afraid
Mm,
of success, and we don't even know it.
yes.
And we're afraid about the possibility. What if?
Mm,
What if?
yes.
You know? Um, but we just got to keep on. This morning I was talking, and I was talking to my group, and I was telling them about a lot of times we get into a limbo, and we just got to work our way out of it,
Mm,
you know? And it's ironic that you're asking me about that. A lot of times we get stuck. And so we got to stop living in limbo.
mm, okay.
And the limbo, you say it in so many words.
Mhm.
Uh, Limbo is what we say to ourselves.
Mm,
We speak. So I have found what has worked for me is not only having statements before I go to bed, I write down, I'm so happy and grateful that I live a life of complete and absolute financial freedom.
wow. Wow.
I have high income habits. I absolutely love, comma, wealth, comma, money, comma, great health, comma, family, comma, home, joy, peace, and luxury.
You're programming your mind.
And so that's what you talk about all the time.
Yes.
That's why I love giving your material, because it supports the people in my inner circle.
Yes. Yes. You know, Dave, I'm sure I've seen you go through, and let me tell you, it's funny. I didn't know the greatest secret was the same recording when Earl Nightingale did that. I think that was one of the first, what do you call it, the spoken word hit records.
First one,
Yes.
first
And
one.
the first one,
And Holiday Magic had it on a 78.
yes, yes.
78 records. Right.
78 was big as a pizza.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The young folks might not know what that is, but said they say go and ask your mama. She'll tell you.
Right. Right.
Well, you know, Dave, that breakthrough and it's so interesting, and I think so many of our listeners, when you have that breakthrough moment, you always remember it. I remember it on a Thursday. I was leaving my law office. I was going to court one morning, and a fellow, Dennis Franklin, he stopped me, and I was going into the subway, and he said, "Sir, you look like you need a change." And that hit home. I'm like, you got that right. And he invited me to a meeting, and at the down near the Waldorf Astoria. And that Thursday night, I heard the meeting, and they invited us to a Saturday breakfast out in Queens so that we could learn the greatest secret. They didn't tell us that first night. It was like, you got to learn the greatest secret. We're going to share it with you. We have a breakfast, and you had to pay for the breakfast. And we went out there that morning, and the greatest secret, they played that recording. And man, I just sat there and,
Is that right?
yes. And that was a turning point. That recording literally set me on fire because I listened. It's like it said that I had in my mind the greatest secret that I can change my life by changing my thinking. And I never heard that before. Yeah. So it's interesting how this mindset can take control of our lives and take us on an entirely new direction.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, if you look back, say, at some of the challenges, some of the things, those times when, you just weren't sure if there were any, if there ever was such a time, but what would you say is the major two challenges that you faced in your progress through your life?
Still face challenges. That's as long as we're right side up, we'll always have challenges.
Mm-hmm.
But it's stinking thinking.
Mm,
It's not believing enough in ourselves,
mm,
not demanding to this day. I tell you what, we can live in two different worlds, in two different cities.
mm-hmm.
I got out the house this morning, and my house is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
And my neighbor, he's all excited. He said, Coach, I sold the car. I said, great. What do you get for it? He said, 125. I said, that's a good price. That's a good price. So that's $125,000
Mm-hmm.
for his Bentley. And he said, and I am so bloody excited. I'm talking about a 72-year-old. He said, I'm
Yes.
so bloody excited because I just ordered a Maybach, and that's $425,000.
Wow.
So we can be on the same block, but in two different worlds.
Yes.
It's what we're saying to ourselves.
Yes. Wow.
So whether you're in North Carolina, whether you're in California, the Bronx, or Brooklyn, do you deserve a better world?
Mm. Woo. Now that's deep.
And what do we tell? So two of us on the same block, right? And what he's experiencing and what somebody else is experiencing is two different things.
Wow. I think that exposure, when we look at entrepreneurship a lot, especially network marketing and sales, I think one of the great benefits of it, I remember I had a friend that he was in Amway, and he said, man, he said, I never made a quarter. He said, but I met some incredible people and I saw places that I never dreamed I would see before. And so entrepreneurship gives you a freedom that really, I'm certain that most jobs can't do it. But that freedom that takes people from where they are to where they want to be, I think that's probably really your whole message when you're talking to a new person coming into your business.
Yes, when I'm talking to a new person coming into the business, black, white, or yellow, it is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, if you're talking about direct sales, um, if you trace the course of the black man
Mm-hmm.
in the United States, they were forced into entrepreneurship.
Mm.
You can look back at Oklahoma,
Mm,
had thriving cities
mm-hmm,
in the deep South. So, uh, 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 entrepreneurism has always been our gate through. Fast forward to today, where really a high school diploma or a GED, to be competitive, you've got to have really a master's today.
mm-hmm,
But you can get into an opportunity, and with sweat equity and a DMO, daily method of operation,
mm-hmm,
and you can rank up to bank up. You can get any level you so choose to.
mm,
And today, it's a lot easier than it was before.
yes.
Okay. Today, we are talking to each other miles apart.
Mm,
There's something called social media
yes.
that you can go out and reach out.
Mm-hmm,
So any 21-year-old has mastered that because they grew up with this in their hands.
yes. Yes.
And so just through social media, I was in a seminar this weekend, and a young lady, she said, yes, I do remember buying my first Bentley. She said, I remember doing my first 100,000. But even more exciting is I remembered my first $1 million year. What's extremely exciting is my first $1 million month.
Mm,
But what's exciting the most is my first $1 million day.
woo,
She went from welfare to somewhere.
mm, mm,
And she's in the leaderboard, and she happens to be Black.
mm. Wow.
So, this industry, this business of entrepreneurism, if you're willing to get, as I had to do, some of the cobwebs, some of the preconceived ideas.
Mm-hmm,
One of my statements I write is, my energy is vibrating at the frequency of wealth.
mm,
My energy is vibrating at the energy of wealth. But if Stormy can do it, almost anybody can, from
absolutely.
welfare to somewhere.
Wow. Well, you're dropping some pearls. You said something, rank up to bank up. I love that. Maybe explain what that means to some of our listeners, because as a network marketer, I got it. But rank up to bank up.
Well, based on your skill levels,
Mm-hmm,
you can go from whatever company you're in and just going up the ladder.
mm-hmm,
They have what's called a core rank, and
mm-hmm,
you look for the core rank. You want to get to the core rank within 90 days.
mm-hmm,
And based on you helping others get to their core rank, you will automatically make it to the top.
mm,
My former company, it took me, and I have been a $1 million producer in several companies.
mm-hmm,
But in this one that I'm talking about, I've been there for 28 years.
mm,
And it took me 2 years. So for 2 years before I got to their core rank of a manager. So,
mm,
I mean, I bought my first Rolls Royce in 1972.
mm,
So I got to this company in 2002.
mm-hmm,
And it took me 2 years. I was so embarrassed that when I got to their core rank, I wouldn't go up and get my certificate.
mm.
And one of my leaders, Miss Brenda Gauntlet, said, don't be selfish, coach. That is not your rank, it's our rank.
Mm,
So we helped you attain it.
mm.
and I went up. But it's what you say, and it's the skill levels you build.
Mm-hmm.
So there are about 6, 7 skills here. And once you have mastered those skills, by golly, you can go through the ranks. And it's based on how many people you are committed to, what you say,
Mm.
and what you do that will
Mm.
cause movement within the group.
Mm.
And
So
so that's ranking up.
that's so much of it is being an example. You know, that you, when they say a leader walks the talk, and I'll tell you, Dave, you were a turning point in my life after, moving through the different companies I was in. But you remember our favorite old company, Indec, and I still have my ID card, and that was how profound the effect was. And we got a chance there in Ohio, and I got a chance to really get to know you. You know, you were always a superstar in my book. you know, like, say you had a Rolls Royce when people weren't sure what it was. You know, they said Rolls Royce around there. Who does he play for? so, so you know, prior to that time, I was aware of your success and had seen you from a distance, and we knew a lot of the same friends, but at that Indec program, I really got a chance to see you in operation. And the thing that impressed me most was you walked the talk. I remember I asked you, I said, the old carnation. And I said, well, Dave, I said, how do you get one of those carnations? Everybody was walking around with a carnation. I'm like, well, how do you get one of those carnations? And you said, well, $2,500. That's it. Yeah, man. And thank goodness, we had the $2,500, but you said it with such confidence, and it wasn't just the words, you exuded the essence of what it was. And I say often to our listeners, if you're not authentic, people feel it. Very often I see people struggling direct sales, a direct market industry, and they're talking the talk, but they're not walking the talk. And so people know it. People may not even speak on it, but they can feel it. And so when I met you and saw you're walking the talk, that was it, man. Like, where's the checkbook, honey? Let's get in this thing. And those 8 days, that week there in Ohio, with you and Elwin and Ali, so many of us, was a transformation experience for me. And from there, I've never looked back, because that really, I didn't understand the power of training your mind, training your emotions, training your habits, even training how you relate to people. But Indec and seeing you in action, I got it. And man, for
That's
that,
why,
I thank you.
that's why I so strongly recommend 12 Universal Laws of Success, because at the heart of it, at the base of it, it's all about training. It's about duplicating. Fast forward in that same company, I've been there now for 28 years. I have not sponsored one person in 14 years, and I'm still at the top of the food chain,
Mm,
rank up to bank up.
mm,
And so at a certain point, you not only lay the seeds of duplication, but then they take root and they continue.
mm.
I'm on a new venture now. I'm on a new program now, but it's still the same.
Absolutely.
Still the same.
Well, Dave, but how do you get through it? Because I know there are times when stuff happens. Companies go left and right, people go left and right. How do you get through those challenge moments?
Challenge moments, we all have challenge moments, Uh, in the Bible, Elisha, they talk about him having 2 caves. And the Lord went to him and said, what's happening? why are you here? And Elisha was totally bummed out. He was afraid. And Lord said, that woman is not your problem. I'll take care of her as soon as I find out what's going on with you. And so a lot of times it's the enemy within.
Mm.
The enemy.
Mm. Yes.
We are the enemy.
Okay. Yes.
You caught it.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
so it's what we're saying to ourselves. What's keeping us in starvation? What's keeping us in denial? What's keeping us from our birthright of being great, of being successful, of dreaming, living that vision you talk about?
Mm-hmm.
That's the point.
Mm.
So look, it's a season. One of our great leaders said, if you're going to fall, make sure you fall on your back. Because if you can look up, you can what?
Get up.
Yeah.
It said, if you can look up, you can rise up. But that's beautiful. You know, we've shared some good stuff, and I think some of the young and older entrepreneurs, one of the things I find about, direct market, network marketing is it doesn't matter how old you are. It's great to hit it young, nothing like having money when you're young, when you were getting that first Rolls Royce. I mean, that was a whole nother experience. A major percentage of the world has never had that experience.
Well, the secret really to this whole business or any business is being of service. All it takes is integrity and a strong desire to give genuine service. And in our business or any business, helping others solve their problems will help you solve your problems. So it's a matter of us, how many problems can we solve?
Wow.
Ziegler's old statement.
Yes, yes.
No.
Well, when you think about it like that, and I think that's why you have been so successful, because so many people look at direct marketing as the commission that they make for themselves. But you just redefined it and said the service you can give to other people. Who said that? If you can help enough people get rich, you'll be taking care of yourself.
You get enough that you can help enough people get what they want, you will get everything
you want. Now, Dave, did you ever experience distractions? I know when I interview people, especially entrepreneurs, they talk about how the distractions pull them off course. Did you ever have to deal with distractions, life distractions, relationship distractions, things like that to pull you off your game?
Yeah. That's that limbo concept I was talking about. Cave. And so when the Lord came by and talked to Elisha, he said, I expected you to be further. So we all go through stuff. And that's part of the benefit and the joy of being alive. If you go back, what's rule number 2? Change.
That's right.
A change is gonna come. So just expect the change.
Wow.
Sometimes the change is for good. Sometimes it's not for good.
Yes. Yes. Dave, if you have had such a fruitful life and such a productive life, if there was a message you could give your younger self, what would it be?
Message I'd give my younger self, as I give my more mature self is, have you settled for less because that's what you think you deserve?
Mm,
Have you settled for less because that's what you think you deserve?
mm. Wow.
Until you confront the lies that have shaped your belief system,
Mm,
you'll never discover all that God has for you. Are you ready to come to your true self? And most of all, have I given myself permission to change my story?
mm.
Have you given yourself permission to change your story? Because once we give ourselves permission to change our story, man, oh man, we light up.
Like nothing is impossible. Now, I have two other questions. Now, just imagine Dave smiled at about 96 years old. So, what would you, based on where you are now, what would you give your older self at 96? What advice would you give yourself for where you are right now?
Man, 96. Well, at 6 o'clock, I was in the gym this morning. I stayed there until 8 o'clock. Then I have a session from 8 until 9. And I went back from 11 to 1. So hopefully I'll keep doing my 2 a day.
Uh-huh.
And my friend is in Phuket. And I always go with him every year to Phuket.
Uh-huh.
I love Thailand.
Uh-huh.
And when we go, we spend 5, 6 weeks. So my 96 would be doing the same thing I'm doing today,
Mm.
working with people, enjoying it, and seeing the world.
Wow. Beautiful. Well,
Going to Kilimanjaro,
uh-huh.
going to having wine on the Rhine,
Mm.
going to different castles in Germany,
Yes.
going to the cathedrals in Spain.
Mm. Wow.
Average American stays within 600 miles of where he or his wife was born. 52% of Americans do not have a passport.
Mm.
So even if the Lord gave them the opportunity to go, they wouldn't know where.
Mm. Well, you've just really described what we should be striving for. When people talk about freedom, that's really what it is, the freedom to go, to be, to do, to see. And just seeing those places, that does something to you.
You grow up.
You
You
grow up.
grow up.
Well, Dave, I'll tell you, number one, man, I want to thank you for the interview. I know you, the one thing I always know about Dave, you always live by the clock, buddy. You always have an appointment with something for somebody for something. And I think that's a part of what you talked about, the daily method of operation. And I think that's something that you have mastered so much. Life is a lot like a business, and a business has a daily method of operation. And to create the success that you desire, you have to have that daily method of operation. And you have truly mastered that, my friend.
We have the
Yes.
tools that you have created, it will go on. Because the best Christmas gift, the best New Year's gift that you could do is get 12 of your books and give it out to 12 people that you care about.
Ooh. Incredible advice, my friend. I sure appreciate that. Well, Dave, before we wrap up now, let's see. Is there anything, any thought, any idea you'd like to share? Because, you represent the entrepreneurship, you represent the chronological maturity, you represent the world mind, the world stage. You've seen and done so many things. Is there any particular advice that you would give to the person who's starting out in life, or the person who's been in life for a while and trying to start over?
Yeah, it's just one sentence. One sentence. Give yourself permission to change your story.
Woo! I'm going to write that down. Give yourself permission to change your story.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Tonight, before I go to bed,
yes,
I'm going to write again. My energy is vibrating at the frequency of wealth. And so you speak a lot about vibrations.
yes.
So my energy is vibrating at the frequency of wealth. So it's just a matter of, the whole message can be summed up in, have you considered giving yourself permission to change your life story?
They, that's what you call it. In church, they say you can take up a collection and go home. In music, you say, drop the mic. Man, I tell you, I have enjoyed this. We're going to have to do some more talks, man, because I think there's so many nuggets that you have that, you and I are like veterans of the game of life. And there's so many nuggets that, we got a lot of them because of that close connection we had with people that who inspired us and who guided us. And I find that even though this is the most connected generation, but so many times that connection is not of the same type that we saw when I saw you walk at Index, and the confidence that you demonstrated that inspired me. When I, learned of, activities, there are other people who, when you saw them, some people would say, oh man, that jealous, that ego might crop up. But to be able to look at another person's great success and to hear of their trips and say, man, I know it's possible. I know it's possible to go and to have wine on the Rhine, visit the cathedrals, see the Parthenon, the pyramids. And once you have that awareness that it's possible to know that somebody's done it, Dave Smile has been there.
Big game hunting.
Go big game.
Yeah.
Woo!
Hands
Okay.
in. Different game.
Wow.
Different game.
Well, thank you so much, Dave. And I know that our listeners are going to be blessed. And so those of you who are listening tonight, and whenever you hear this broadcast, you want to listen to it time and time again, because many times when you hear a nugget, you may be so focused on another nugget that you miss one. But I guarantee you that when you listen to this, be sure to have your pen and pencil, because there's some nuggets here that can help you discover the goal within your heart and within your spirit. So thank you, my friend Dave. This has been another edition of Success Talk with the great, the incredible, the world-renowned, known from the rock-bound shores of Maine to the sunny shores of California, with Europe, Asia, and Australia thrown in simply for good measure, Dave Smile. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, my brother. Continue.